Hello there, I'm Wendy Van Beesen, and this is episode 3. We went through episode 1, which was the State of the Union for Women Today. Then in episode 2, I shared with you a little bit about my own personal story, which I think makes me uniquely positioned to help other women. And now this is episode 3, where we're going to talk about what are the lies that we tell ourselves, what keeps us from taking chances to move forward. And a lot of that is based on neuroscience and science and fact. I think of myself right now as an executive coach that helps women get to their second chapter or their second half of life. And to do that, we're going to expose some of those lies. And I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to be looking at some of my notes because it has the research there, and I want to make sure that I am sharing the proper information. So what is lie number 1 that we tell ourselves? This is a very sneaky one, and it's the one where I should be grateful. I should be grateful that I have built a wonderful life. I should be grateful that I have my health, that I have a spouse, my husband, a partner. I have my children. I have great relationships. And so even though I'm feeling maybe a little empty or a little disconnected, I should feel grateful. The fact of the matter is you can feel both. You can feel grateful for what you have and perhaps a little empty for what is not happening in your life at that time, and you're feeling a little misaligned. Psychologist Dana Jack calls it self-silencing. It's the habit of keeping things in so we don't rock the boat. But what happens over time? That silence becomes a weight. Brene Brown, who was one of my favorites, and in fact, if I had a dinner party and I had to invite 12 people, Brene Brown would be one of them. So Brene, if you are ever looking at this, please reach out to me because I would like to take you out for dinner because I think you are brilliant and you absolutely changed my life. And you know what Brene Brown says? She says that when we bypass difficult emotions so that we don't accept them in ourselves or we silence them in favor of service gratitude. Oh yes, I'm grateful I have this. I'm grateful I got to buy those pair of shoes, or I met a friend for lunch. You know, we're not really being resilient. We are numbing ourselves. And you know what? We can't selectively numb. We can't numb that part of ourselves which isn't feeling great and then really experience joy and happiness. We have to be able to feel all those emotions. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself because I felt shame for wanting more. I had the great career. I had the wonderful home. I had the great kids. Everything was going well, but I didn't feel like I was enough. And so I tell myself, Wendy, look at everything you have. Who are you to really want more? But deep down, I wasn't in my life. I was going through life's emotions, and that gratitude became a mask. Lie number 2, it's too late. You know what? I've lived life enough. You know, I don't have the ability to talk or to change. You're too old for this. You should have already figured this out. Here's the truth. You're not behind. You're just beginning. And you're just beginning to make up something more. Do you know that the Harvard study of adult development, which tracked people for over 80 years, shows that emotional growth doesn't stop in your 30s. It actually continues and increases as we get older. So that midlife, we are just approaching our wisdom. Author Mary Catherine Batesman, who studied women's lives in depth, called this chapter the second adulthood. That's why I'm calling myself for the second chapter, coach for the second chapter. What she says is we finally claim authorship of our lives instead of following old scripts. And Brene, my favorite again, says midlife isn't a crisis, it's an unraveling. We unravel that armor that doesn't fit. We shed the armor because the truth is knocking louder and louder. And unless we approach that and really understand that truth, we're just going to squish it and silence it. It's the point where our outside version doesn't fit our inside version anymore, and we're disconnected. So we're either numbing, we're silent, or we're going to expose it and let that just little light come in, that crack of light, so that we can really speak our truth. Lie number 3. Lie number 3 is one that I know several of my clients have had, which is, oh, I can handle it. And this one is personal. It's personal for a lot of us because it's the myth that women are strong, that we can juggle a lot of things, that we can keep things going and not necessarily have feelings. And also, no one asks us. You know, we get up in the morning, we drive the kids to school, we're able to go to work, or we're able to do a volunteer job or whatever it is. We cook meal, we take the kids to their sports or bands or whatever it is, and no one asks, how are you feeling today? Because we're on that automatic treadmill. Brene Brown says, we orphan the parts of ourselves that don't fit the picture of who we think we're supposed to be. Do you know that the World Health Organization, the WHO, now recognizes burnout as a legitimate health condition? And in the US, women are 32% more likely than men to experience burnout. Think about that. Women are 32% more likely to experience burnout in the US than men. And that is based on the McKinsey Lean-In study. Why? Why, we ask? It's because emotional labor is real. We put our emotions into everything that we're doing. And it's not empowerment. What that does is it depletes us. So, lie number 4. This is a good one. If I change, I'll blow up my life. If I happen to speak my truth, if I happen to share my opinions, my whole life is going to blow up. You know what that means, though? That means I'm not trusting the people that I love in my life. I'm not allowing them to see who I am, and I'm not trusting that they're going to love me as much as I love me. But let me offer this truth. Harvard psychologist Keegan and Leahy calls this the immunity in change, where we unconsciously resist growth because deep down we're afraid of who we'll become if we stop performing. Interesting. So we may hold ourselves back because we don't know how others may respond to us, but we're really holding ourselves back because we don't know what's in front of us and how we're going to perform. Brown calls this unraveling, because shedding roles is messy. It is ugly. But what comes after, that's what's real. That's when we can actually breathe a sigh of relief. That's when we can become who we are meant to be, who our purpose is in life. When I left my corporate career, I was absolutely terrified, not of the change, but of the silence. I would go to gatherings and people would say, well, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm in between right now. I had to be silent. And that silence is okay. We put that pressure upon ourselves. Others don't put it up. And we also think that we have to blow our lives up. We don't have to blow our lives up just to become who we're meant to be. These stories that we have, they think that they make us small. We make ourselves small. We're the ones. We don't allow ourselves to be seen because we want to people please. We want to perfect. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do that. The movement that we're building, we're just getting started, is a supportive community, a community where we come together, where we share, we support, we evolve. We do this through neuroscience and trusted techniques where we really recognize who we are and then how do we want to move forward. So come join us because we're just getting started.